Hey everyone, how's it going? Bowser the Healer here, and I'm here with my Interface Season 2 video. Gonna go kind of quick here, not a lot's changed from Season 1, but there's a lot more of you. So I'm gonna try to get into it, not take too long on anything. And of course, if you like healing content, get subscribed. There's a lot more coming. This is a healer interface, so hopefully this helps all of you out who are looking for something that makes healing a little bit easier. And also, if you like augmentation, I got an interview. That's right, I got an interview with the class designer for Evoker. We're going to be talking all about augmentation. That should be coming out this week. It's a huge opportunity, and I'm so excited to share it with all of you. But that being said, today we're going to focus on interfaces. So let's get into it. The first interface I'm going to talk about is Plater. These Plater for my enemy nameplates. It's a very simple Plater setup. It only displays last names, so it can be misleading with certain trash packs, so just be careful. It'll show buffs and debuffs that they have on top of them, anything that you can manage. And of course, if like a kick comes through or a spell, you'll be able to see who it's going on, who interrupted it, that sort of thing. Very, very, very useful stuff. Now, as for the bars, we'll start from the bottom. All my utility, big cooldowns, and items are all down here. These are because they're things that I need and sometimes need frequently, and they're bound to buttons that I can press very easily. However, they're down here because I don't need to plan around them. However, most of the buttons I want to plan around or I'm using all the time are up here. Excuse me. I do plan around these buttons. Hold on, wait. I gotta hold on. I said that wrong. I do plan around these buttons, but I don't need to plan around them every 10, 15 seconds. I need to plan around them. I'm like, oh, okay, next pull, I will have this up, therefore, right? So that's why those are down there. Like those weak aura packs, I like my big important buttons up and close. However, I really like looking at the world often in this game. Sometimes I just like looking at my character, and I just didn't want a bar that was like here, where it's like going to be blocking their face or something. So sort of the best of both worlds. However, once you start healing people, you get this big box over here. So if you click into this, use raid style party frames. This is what's going to help you very easily track buffs and debuffs that people have. I really like the raid frames. I think they're very clean and they're very good. They provide everything you need, except you do have to do this. Go into settings and type debuff, and you'll get these two settings. Show debuff, turn that one on. Display only dispellable debuffs, turn that one off. And the reason is certain things you want to track as a healer to know that somebody's got like a big bleed on them and whatnot just won't show up if this is turned on. So turn this bottom setting off and keep show debuffs on, and that should help you out quite a bit with certain dispels and things that you have to manage but can't necessarily deal with. It's all nice to have that information. Now, to the left of my party frames, and I'll show some gameplay for this, is Omni CD. Omni CD is where I track my defensives. Every defensive in the game, I believe I have accounted for that is used frequently. For tanks, as much active mitigation as I could get shows up there, so demon spikes and shield block will all show up, but things like consecration are a lot harder to track and maybe not worth the constantly seeing it go on cooldown and off cooldown, so I don't have things like that in there. Health pot also shows up, but similar to shield block, actually, if the character has the ability to use a health pot or the ability to use shield block, it shows up. So arms warriors that aren't ever going to shield block, there is a shield block button, they're never going to be able to use it, so right, like try not to account for that. If they don't have a health pot, it'll never go on cooldown, but you won't know that they don't have a health pot. Omni CD is also where I get this fancy interrupt tracker. That's also super nice. Feel free to disable it if you use your own, but interrupt trackers have saved my butt so many times. Very good information, very good to track. Details, my details config, I'll have it down below. It's not pretty, but I track healing and damage, which are the two things you really got to be tracking. And then of course, I have this third window, and this is for whatever I want to track. And I recommend you set it to death. This isn't to troll or be mean. This is good because you can see what went wrong, where somebody made a mistake, and you can kind of just follow like, oh, hey, they died to a mechanic. Oh, they bled out. I didn't heal them. And that sort of information just makes you a better player. So I really like having this info up. Helps me be a better player. And details, I could probably make a whole video on details. So if you want that, let me know. Other than Omni CD, I do have Mix scrolling battle text. So Mix is a really nice add-on that will tell me when moves are back. Now it also does scrolling battle text. So if you want to see all of your damage and whatnot, you can. And it lets me know when a move's off cooldown. However, I use this font for it And I believe it's accessible text for people who are dyslexic. Now, I'm not dyslexic. However, I did find that the dyslexia text, or the accessible text rather, is very easy to read at a glance or like out of the corner of your eye. So you can set certain exceptions if you don't want certain moves to constantly be popping up, but I really like its cooldown tracker. So that's what I use to let me know that moves are ready. And yeah, the accessibility text makes it even easy to notice when I'm not really looking at it. So I really like that setting, so I keep it. As for weak auras, my mouse cursor's 2. You don't have to worry about one of them. It's just a basic mouse tracker, and I've changed the color. But Ultimate Mouse Cursor is a very cool add-on that can just keep track of so many pieces of information. Your health bar, your GCD, right? It'll show all of that stuff at a glance, which is super nice. It's incredibly accurate, and it'll even show empower levels for charges. How cool is that? So I'll have those linked down below. Amazing weak auras. Also, another weak aura I recommend you get that I'll have linked from my Ultimate Pug Guide is the one that displays region names and class colors. Awesome one that just kind of helps organize everything and lets you see all sorts of information. If you're worried about a group not having a battle res, or if you want to make sure there's an off healing cooldown in a party, this is a nice way to raise the chances of those things being true, or confirm, oh, there is a battle res in this party, I'll be happy with that. Or, oh, there's a PI in this party, I'm happy about that, right? That sort of thing. So a couple of things while I still have you, let's talk about buttons and interface scaling. So when it comes to scaling, I want you to do what works right. I'm on a 1080p monitor, that's a high refresh rate. I don't do a lot of high resolution stuff. So all of this looks really good on my end, but some of you have gigantic screens, some of you are playing on televisions, some of you are playing on some jank old monitors. Let's go. Scale it appropriately. Scale it to what feels good for you. There's no real answer to anything in the control or interface department, other than as long as it doesn't inhibit your ability to play. And so make sure you just set it up the way that you like it. If you want to use me as a base, feel free, and then just play around with it, you know, see if it works out for you. I will say when it comes to controls, same goes. Make sure you're not locked out of pressing any buttons, or, you know, you're not ruining your damage or your healing because of the way you play. But that being said, huge shout outs to my friend Ari. She's one of the best monks I've ever played with, and she's a click caster. She has what she needs on keyboard, and everything else is click casting because that's how she learned the game, and she's really good at it. So my honest advice is just make sure however you're playing the game, it's comfortable, it doesn't hurt, and it doesn't get in the way of your ability to play. If you are struggling to map buttons and whatnot, try to look for extra buttons on a mouse to be modifier keys. I play with shift and control on my mouse so that this control 4 input does not mean I'm moving my pinky and my index finger completely diagonal. No, it means that I'm holding a button on my mouse and I press 4. So whatever is comfortable for you. There is no good option that is better than other options. There are simply options that let you play the game in a way that is comfortable. At super advanced high levels of play, there are some optimizations that you can make. The level that's going to be like mandatory is so unbelievably high, you don't have to worry about it. And honestly, when it comes to things like Mythic Plus and Raid, there are lots of players who play with like WASD movement like I do, and they see no such problems. So just find something that's comfortable, promise me. And that's gonna do it for this one. It wasn't a whole, I thought there wasn't a whole lot, but it's 9 minutes of recording. So I hope all of you enjoyed it. Please use anything you need down below. If you need more information or anything, post it down below. If you have any helpful add-ons or things that you think players might find useful, down below, comment section for all of it. Let's help each other out. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, friends.